All right, so I'll take you underneath the van to see what we did under there first. And then I'll show you how the heater actually sits up in the cabin. So first of all, this is the auxiliary fuel tap that comes with the Sprinter, connects right to the diesel tank. And here is the 5/16 connector that I purchased, and that's just a snap-on connection that you can put on and add to it. Gives you this piping, and then from there you're able to connect with this male-to-male connector, the 5/16 adapter, to this black thermal fuel line. Just use this one's actually heat shrunk, and then from here on out it just uses these hose clamps. So as you can see under here, that's the fuel line, this white plastic or nylon, and that runs all the way up here. So just for reference, we're under the driver's side. That runs up here to the fuel pump, and where it goes from the nylon fuel line to the black thermal stuff, and it connects, just slips right over the pump with a hose clamp. So I didn't read anything in the Snugger manual about having to mount this at 15 degrees. So it's on a slight incline. It's probably about 5, maybe 8 degrees, but yeah, for the most part it's generally flat. And then this is the doser that came with the Snugger, and that was already pre-assembled. That just evens out the fuel flow. And so this black looming that you see over the fuel line, that's just protective looming, try and prevent the fuel line from getting damaged from any rocks and stuff like that. So this one here, this is the 12 volt power to the pump, and this just goes right up into the cab, and that connects to the heater, the same power source as the heater up that way. And then that's just wrapped around this support beam and comes up. And then this one here is the fuel line. So I just ran this fuel line as close to the ceiling as possible every time. And as you can see, this the fuel pump is really far away and up, so I think it's gonna be really well protected from anything. It's definitely not the lowest point, so it's not gonna be the first thing to go. And then this is the fuel line, ran all the way close to the ceiling, and then actually secured it directly to the ceiling here with just drilled a hole next to this factory hole, zip tied it, ran it over the heat shield here, and it's not touching the heat shield, so it's mounted right there again with the factory hole, and then wrapped around the support beam on the other side here, at which point it goes directly up into the ceiling, and that's where the heater is. So then you've got these two gas pipes. This silver one is the exhaust pipe. As you can see, it comes right down here, curls around, and connects to the muffler, and then exhaust outs right here. Every time we connected any sort of like exhaust or intake air, we used this thermal sealant. It was just this caulking that we got from Home Depot, and I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, then we have the muffler just mounted right in here, kind of similar to the pump. Just mounted in this little groove, so it stays really rigid and it's really locked in there, and it's once again protected. You know, it's not the lowest thing, and it's protected by this outer wall here. So that's on there nice and tight, and then you can see the thermal paste right there. And then this black one, this is the air intake, and that's just routed down over the footstep box over again, and then it comes down right here. So I'm looking up towards the passenger door, and that just comes down. I mounted it in a way so that it was facing away from the tire, so it's kind of facing back down a bit towards the back of the vehicle, so mud's not going to get splashed right into it. And then also kind of on a downward slope, so water is hopefully not going to rise up into it. So now this is the fuel line, like I said, exhaust, and then intake combustion air. And I'll take you up top, show you what that's like. So up here we've got the actual heater, and you can see I mounted it on these two support beams, and these are just attached to a block of wood, which is bolted into the side of the passenger seat box. So that was we figured that was a better way, because now we can make sure that we had the thermal paste mounted to like really well mounted and secured to the underside of that piping. So now I'm going to take you under. You can see that right there. We've got the connections from the exhaust and intake air pipes and the fuel line all attached to the bottom of the heater. So once again, those have the thermal paste on them. I'll show you that in a second. Right here. So you've got 3M fire block sealant, and it's rated for up to 1300 Fahrenheit, and a couple different specs there and codes required. Not sure what that all means, but I think it's good. This is our AC to DC converter, which is just a temporary power supply for that. And I'll go ahead and turn it on now so you can hear what it kind of sounds like. So this is the control. Turn it on. And as you can hear, that's about as loud as it gets. So it's about 38 degrees where I currently am, and probably takes about 20 or 30 seconds to heat up to full blast. But yeah, this is the noise level.